And I don't see why we should let an outsider make this decision. This decision should be made by our engineer and our DPW supervisor. So, is there any more debate on this?
My only thing with that, Rick, is like I just don't see any of that, like at least within in the text of the ordinance. You know, like it's not laid out that, you know, that there will be cooperation between the residence engineer and you know, the township professionals.
Chris, in most of our ordinances, we don't cover every possible scenario. Otherwise, we'd be writing treatises. We rely on practicality. It's like when you're negotiating a deal. If you sit down and try to negotiate a deal and cover every possible situation, your deal won't get done. So you have to say that on issues that are not monumental issues, in the end, people are going to behave rationally at least 99% of the time. And you go with it. We could draft this into a 20-page ordinance and try to cover every possible scenario. I think we're grossly overworking this.
Oh, I agree. I think we've kind of passed that point a long time ago. But
right. So why do we want to be doing this on a simple ordinance? We've already made this ordinance makes it better for the resident, because compared to what's on the books right now. What's on the books right now? Jason says what gets installed, the resident pays. Here, the resident comes to us. The resident gets the first bite at the apple. So this actually is better for the residents than what's on the books.
I'm not sure about that. What's on the book says that they pay for the materials and our DPW does the work.
No, they pay for everything.
You know, the language says the pipe and stone will be installed by the Township Road Department. The township will bill the property owner for the cost of the materials used, which will be deducted from the performance bond. It doesn't say for the cost of the labor.
I think the issue we're all getting is the fact that there's a unilateral decision being made, and
right, it's absolute.
Yeah, there's no, you know, that's it, right? So if there was some other second bite of the apple, I think that would be the easiest way to resolve this, no?
And all I'm suggesting, guys, is I've been around here 20 years, and I have seen firsthand, and I have heard secondhand from lots of residents where abuses have happened. For whatever motivation, whatever reason, people have been abused, whether they were really or not. They may feel that way. However, things have been done to residents who are trying to do things to their property.
It's
my only concern here.
Example of the abuse. What is this abuse?
It's just a feeling.
No.
What abuse? Give me an example of something been abused.
I have a neighbor who had to put $40,000 into escrow, and it was all spent, and then their barn was finally approved after a year of fighting about it for no valid reason other than to spend their money. So there's a lot of these stories around. I mean, Ann Del Campo went through a lot of problems. A lot of people went through a lot of issues. So it's happened, okay? And you know, I don't have a perfect memory to write down and cite 15 times, but I've heard enough over the years to know that humans are humans and they do what they do. So all I'm suggesting is we just have a way of having a second look. But again, you know, end the debate and go. You know, I don't need to go on all night. I've said my piece.
With respect, I mean, what you've proposed doesn't really, it isn't really fleshed out. You know, it really just says, like, you know, you can appeal to the conflict engineer. It doesn't say what would be involved in a procedural process, how that decision would be rendered, what would the impact of that decision would be. You know what I mean? I think it needs a little more fleshing out for, you know, for me to support it. That's just from my side. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
Well, as I said, and Rick will yell at me for this, I'm not a lawyer, and Rick likes to remind me that I like to play lawyer, but I'm not a lawyer. So I made an attempt to write language that I thought was simplistic and easy to understand. I'm happy to have someone wordsmith it, make it better, improve upon it. If you agree with the concept, if you don't, then scrap it and move on.
What is the concept? When you say if you agree with the concept, tell me what the concept is.
The concept is to have a third party. I thought the conflict engineer was the simplest because they're already a professional that we've apparently vetted and approved.
But
to
Tim,
work on
who
behalf of the town.
decides? You're missing the point. Who decides if the conflict engineer and our DPW supervisor and engineer disagree? Who decides?
Exactly. There's no finality in what you've offered, Tim. With all respect,
This isn't a lawyer thing, Tim.
Yeah.
You want an appeals process. I said to you at the last meeting, tell me what appeals process. You give us something that doesn't work, that doesn't tell us who decides. You want the conflict engineer to decide.
Look, in the interest of plowing ahead here, because it's 9:37 and I don't think we all want to be here until tomorrow. What if we adopt this as written and we can add an amendment later, right? I don't see why we couldn't.
We certainly can.
Yeah, if Tim, you come up with something better. If somebody else does, for some sort of, because I in concept, I don't like the idea of a unilateral decision being made. People are
With
going to.
no appeal process.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's, in a sense, there should be some sort of, second bite at the apple in some way, shape, or form if you're going to just have a unilateral decision. But, we don't have right now anything that's going to work like that. That's workable, So I'm going to say, we accept it as it is now. We pick it up next month or the month after. If somebody comes up with, a good process, we just don't have that yet.
So I'm going to do a roll call vote, okay?
Well, hold it. What? The vote is going to be to put it in as written.
Yes.
This is better than what we have, Mark. My inclination would be put it in as written, and if we come up with something better, we amend it.
But we could always table it too, right? I mean,
Chris, this is better than what's there. Let's go with what you said. Let's put it up for a vote.
at the time.
Let's call it a night.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, wait. Let me bring up my,
We already have a motion and a second.
okay.
Mr. Castellano,
Yes.
Mr. Matthews,
No,
Mr. Miller,
You're muted.
mute.
Yes.
Mr. Sobieski,
Yes.
and Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
The adoption will be published in the April 16, 2020 issue of the Hunter County Democrat.
Look, Tim, I am fine continuing.
No more discussion, Rick. You have to move on.
Wow.
That's it. Done.
Just wait till the next meeting when Wolfgang comes after you for bossing me around. All right, but look, I'm certainly amenable to trying to come up with an appeals process.
Yeah. We just need to flesh it out. I don't think,
Okay,
again.
go.
No discussion.
All
No
right.
discussion. Not after a vote. Let's go.
Okay. Chris, do we have any special committee reports?
No,
Okay. I'm showing no unfinished business.
that's correct.
Okay. Under new business, we have two things. One, we want to appoint our summer playground supervisor, director, and the other directors. These are already people we know.
They're the
We've
same ones from last year
We appointed
and the
them
year
all
before.
last year.
Mhm.
Okay, well, we appointed them all the last 2 years.
Yes.
So could I have a motion to approve the resolution to appoint the summer playground personnel?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to put sort of a thought out there about the timing of that too. We might have to decide about, when we're going to pull the plug on that. Just keeping it in the calendar of events, so we're a little ahead of that, just in case.
I mean, look, that's a good point. It's everything's up in the air.
When you hear school in September and everything in between, so, okay.
Although what's his name, Fauci?
Yeah.
Said today he thinks that there's a good chance school will go back next September, so we'll see.
Dr. Doom and Gloom.
In any event, with Pete's caveat, which caveats a lot of things, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Next, we've discussed this a number of times. I think we came to the conclusion that we would appoint as our township attorney Frank Whittlesley. He's out of Flemington. We vetted it. He has not made any donations to any of our campaigns, at least not that anybody's aware of. He has good credentials. He currently is the township attorney for Flemington, and I say that anybody who can be township attorney with Betsy Driver is certainly going to be able to handle us. He understands that his role is going to be somewhat limited, that we have one attorney and one close to being an attorney on the township committee, so a lot of our work is being done internally. I had a long conversation with him. I do believe he's the right fellow for the job. His partner is also very experienced. He's billing at $150 an hour, which is actually, I believe, $15 an hour less than what we were paying Carl. So we're not overpaying. He's very experienced. So I'd like a motion to approve him as our township attorney.
I'll move.
Second?
Any questions?
No, just a comment. Rick, he was one of the ones who responded to our RFP, right?
Correct,
Yeah, okay, good.
correct. All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
Pete, you have a question?
No, I said all in favor.
Okay.
I'm prompting you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Okay. Could I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone from the public?
Go ahead, Francis.
Yeah, hi. I may be one of the older ones on this. To give you a little history, I remember when the road on Linville Road, the piping and thing that was done, and around that time with the DPWs, there were a lot of complaints about what a pain in the hindquarters cleaning out the pipes were. Since the fire department was no longer flushing them, it's a whole lot easier to deal with the swale than to deal with the pipe. An example of where there was a pipe issue is the corner of Mountain Road and Rileyville Road. I think that went on for a while. But in terms of where there's a disagreement with attorneys, with engineers and the powers that be in appeals process, going back to 2005 and 6, when they were going to be doing the Wurtsville Road bridges that were designed to be highway grade, we independently brought in and got agreement and buy-in from the freeholders. We brought in an engineer at no cost from the College of New Jersey who worked geek to geek with the county engineers and with the oversight and advice and consent of the freeholders, and thereby coming to a compromise where they lowered the speed limit 5 miles an hour over there by the ridge. The front lawn of Jim Kelly's was saved, and his daughter had a flat place where she could play, and there's a much more aesthetically pleasing compromise, appeals, and going and asking for another opinion is possible even when City Hall says, we can't do anything, it's approved, and all of that. The freeholders came out, they met with the public, they listened, and they should be applauded for that. And as tiring as this discussion back and forth and the angst is, I would urge that you do consider some kind of general language to where there could be appeal process and that there would be a mechanism to have discussion, because usually when there isn't a process, there is a movement towards compromise, whether it's our current road supervisor or not. People are human. They don't always make their decisions based on technical or engineering principle. It's just, well, what's the easiest way out? And, you know, I applaud Tim for your tenacity, and Mark and Chris and Peter for being willing to listen to him. And there are a number of examples, and there's no need to go to, but what was it, over $100,000 that a former DPW supervisor decision that was suboptimal ended up costing her. So that's it. Let's move on.
Thank you, Francis.
Anyone else?
No.
Okay. Motion to close to the public?
So moved. Oop, second.
I'm sorry, who was first?
Chris.
And who was second? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Item 18, bills of the evening. Could I have a motion to approve the bills of the evening?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
How are we going to sign the checks? We have
Wait.
to.
We can sign them up. Pam, me, Margaret, we all can sign them.
Okay. All right. Cool beans.
But I sent the PDF version for you guys to sign the sheets. Did you get that?
How did you sign it, Chris? Send it.
Digital
The
signature.
PDF so you could sign it an e-signature
When did you send it?
the other
Bill.
day.
April 7th.
Yeah.
Title, email bill list. Hi, everyone.
Okay, I will find it. I will sign it and send it
It's the
back.
first time I used that program, so let me know.
I don't
I
recall
don't
seeing
remember
it.
seeing it, but I'll go
Okay.
back and look.
Yeah, I'm not. I got my email up right now, Chris. I'm not. The only one I see is it says bill list from the 7th. Can you please let me know if you have any questions regarding the bill list?
Yeah, I don't think we got it, Krista. I don't have
Okay.
it.
I'll look
I'm pretty good
then.
at checking all your emails, as you know.
Yeah.
Whoever
was
you
the
sent
first
it to,
time I
they're on
sent
their
it
way to
like that.
Florida.
I'm sorry, Mark.
I said, whoever you sent it to, they're on their way to Florida right now.
All right.
Wait, did we approve the bills?
Yeah,
No.
All in favor?
we did.
Yes. Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay. We have a motion to cancel the first and second quarter 2020 taxes due by 100% disabled veteran. I mean, I looked at the statement. It seemed fine to me. Margaret signed off on it. So I think it's fine to go ahead and move this motion. So can I have a motion to approve this cancellation?
So
I'll
moved.
move it.
All right, I'll second.
Any questions?
No, just a comment. I know Francis Fiola and his wife. They're great people. He's a true hero and veteran, and I wish him well. And they're good people. So I think we're doing the right thing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Anything else, Krista?
That's it.
Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
You said you're opposed?
I did say that. No.
Okay, then we'll keep it going. I don't want to make Pete upset. All right, everybody, have a good evening. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye.